And I understand health crises, anxiety, depression. I understand it very well. It was, at one time, my answer by not doing anything, by staying up for essentially weeks at a time. Where I could only sleep for 45 minutes at a time.
Wow. Hey, welcome to Voices on the Wind, a podcast about catching those ideas that fly by our head and turning them into something significant. Hey, I'm Toby Lyles and
Maverick Lyles.
Looking forward to our conversation today with Denise Patton. I'll tell you more about her in a second, but before then, you need to hop on our email list.
Yep, our email list. We've got stuff we've learned from the podcast, some kind of more of the cool takeaways, along with stuff we've learned outside the podcast. Mm-hmm. Yeah, got a lot of fun information on there, as well as when the next episodes are going to come out each week. So, yeah.
Yeah, it'd be really informative and helpful, and of course, make your life 10 times better at least. Maybe 10.5 times better. Hey, today we're talking with Denise Patton. When I first met Denise, I was just amazed by how she could not only be an artist, but she was an entrepreneur and a solid businesswoman as well. And I don't know why that was so interesting to me, because there's plenty of other businesswomen, businessmen who are artists as well. Now, this is well established, but she's doing it. She's doing it in a small town, and she's successful. She is winning. So I enjoyed this. It was a difficult episode to edit because there were so many really good one-liners from her. I think my favorite one is money's everywhere.
Yeah.
It's everywhere. And it's one with maybe a bit of a poverty mindset. That's helpful for me to hear. So just really like that. So I hope you enjoy with us the conversation with Denise Patton.
It took a long time for me to say I am an artist. Mm-hmm. A very long time to sort of own that inherent profession and everything that it suggests. I had a crush on this guy, this other little boy who was a ranching family.
Okay.
And he looked at my yellow horse and said, "Horses aren't yellow." And I distinctly remember this. And my teacher said, "Of course horses are yellow." And she put she put my painting up on the wall. Oh. And that's a very early age affirmation that yes, indeed, horses can be yellow. And that you can do something that someone else doesn't agree with or doesn't resonate with. So I've always kind of hooked up or been a part of relationships, whether they're professional or more platonic friendships or whatever, where people were in communion with me to some degree, to where people would tell stories about, well, if you go to the cemetery, there's some awesome views, and you can contemplate the future with very little consequence up until that point. And I saw foxes with kits, and these are kind of cute little stories, but they stuck with me. Those positive stories stuck with me about living a life of integrity, honesty, thinking about how I can live. And believe me, I've had health challenges just wondering about how to get through any particular phase of life, or how to immerse myself in what I love and let it feed me.
I asked Denise her thoughts on the art of business, or perhaps the business of art. Here's some of her thoughts.
I mean, back to the practical. Any accountant will happily set up a free appointment with you if they are a small business accountant. They will most likely give you a little booklet or something where you can record every time you go take a drive to the next town or whatever, mileage, all of these things. If you go to a different place and you have lunch with another person. So practical receipts, keep those receipts, keep track of that mileage, and that accountant will guide you on that path. So that idea of bringing in experts, don't ever discount it. Even if you don't go through a marketing program or a small business program, it's a basic thing. They'll be happy to meet with you and tell you what to do, to stay on the right path, and to put aside a small amount of every sale that you will make to support your future. There's money everywhere. There's money everywhere to get you what you need. And I just applied for grant money. And I've applied for, whether it's goods, services, or cash, it's there for you. I was an accounts receivable clerk, and it was normal. Money coming in, money going out. It's normal. And that's the way you get what you need and donate money to good causes and raise children and have a business like this. Money goes in, money goes out. And part of it gets set aside for taxes, for savings, to reinvest in what you do. And this happens every day here in this. I hang art and somebody doesn't buy it for a long time. And it does create this sort of sense of instability or insecurity. Very much so. And I have to end the idea of stopping. Oh, maybe I'll do something else. Always comes into my mind.
Really?
Always. It's not a bunch of people. It's one person who's going to see the value enough to do that exchange. Here, I value this so much that I'm going to offer you something in exchange.
You talked about health, and then you also talked about sometimes if something doesn't sell, you're ready to go jump to something. I feel that too. I'm there all the time. I'm like, it looks a little tight. Maybe I need to go, and I get 10 ideas of just squirrel just out there. This is not my focus. But then you mentioned integrity, and this is as far as, this living who you are. How do you, or is there a time, I mentioned health just as far as struggles, difficult times, hard times. I don't know, how do you overcome that? I mean, because I don't think you can just say, well, just paint something else and it'll just make 10,000.
No, not for me.
What's
maybe
your
for
approach?
somebody.
Yeah, somebody else for sure, right? But they had their own struggle before they got there.
Probably.
Assumably.
Yeah.
How do you face challenges? Maybe it's you're not able to do art because of medical, or there's a medical bill or some other challenge. How do you deal with a situation like that?
I cry a lot and I whine and I tell somebody. I definitely don't stop anything.
Okay.
I don't stop.
Mm-hmm.
I don't ever stop.
Mm.
It was the most stressful time of my entire life.
Yeah.
Because several large projects had just completed.
Mm.
And over the next several, I suppose, 9 months, for 2 months specifically, if I couldn't, it felt like I had my finger in a light socket. It was a physiological health problem. No health insurance. I had enough set aside to pay my rent, but there was no work coming in. And this health problem was just screaming at me. It was screaming at me. What that effectively did, in retrospect, is show me that there were resources.
Okay.
And there were resources everywhere. Mm-hmm. And they were the right resources for me. Mm-hmm. And shortly after that, I think I might have applied for grad school at some point in there. Yeah. I don't remember exactly, but I did get in to a grad program. Okay. And then more work started coming. So this all sounds kind of serendipitous, but I was obviously doing things to make things happen. I was reaching out. Mm-hmm. So that I was reaching out, I was checking in. I was contemplating what is going to work for me, what is going to save my life from this. At one time, I was encouraged to do a lot of a lot of sort of the stream of consciousness, early morning writing kind of thing. The what's that book? The Artist's Way.
Yep,
what it was?
The Artist's Way.
Yeah. That was really I had a pal of mine in Saratoga when I lived in Saratoga. She was very artistic. She was a flamenco dancer and a poet, and she put together a group of Artist's Way, and that that sort of rebuilt the notion of doing stream of consciousness writing. And so when there's been a big health challenge or some kind of wretched thing that's happened, that's part of the way I practice artistry. And sooner or later, there'll be some doodles or some, all of a sudden I'm back out of myself. Mm-hmm. So that interchange between exterior life and interior life, there's a flow there. Even somebody who comes in and says, oh, I wish I could do that. I'm a whatever. And I feel bad for them because I do not believe that they don't do anything artistic. Everybody creates something. That was a key moment to understand that there were a lot of different ways to keep myself in the business of art. And so that's one thing I'd certainly recommend to a young artist, is to offer yourself for odd jobs for other artists who are more established.
Thank you so much, Denise. Then I really enjoyed that whole interview. Really cool to be there, cool to see your art. and just you just had a lot of really good things to say, like how how to approach money, how to approach mental health, and that your mental health is definitely very connected to your business, and it's important to deal with and to see it and to talk it out with people. How you made that as like this is actually valuable. I thought that was really cool. That was really cool. And so, so thanks. And what did you think?
Yeah, no, I just enjoyed that, Denise. Thank you. And for those who don't know, Denise has also been really helpful for me, just thinking of different ways to fund this podcast and make things happen. So we're still working on some of those, but just her mind for, how to make money in art, this podcast is a bit of a piece of art. So she's helping me think of different ways that I wouldn't have normally thought of. So I really appreciate that, Denise. Thanks for your help. And next week, we have Brian Gross. Now, Brian Gross, you may or may not know Brian, but he's coaches a lot of new startups on how to take their product to market. But what's extra interesting about Brian is his deep knowledge on patents, and then along with that is this kind of mindset on generally how to make wealth, how to prosper, and it shifted my mind on what true wealth is. So that's next week. Looking forward to joining you on that episode with Brian Gross. Until then, my friends, happy sailing.